You know that exact feeling. You share an important thought, and someone cuts you off. You explain an idea at work, and someone speaks right over you. You try to keep going, but their voice gets louder, so you step back slowly, and your idea vanishes into thin air. After it happens once or twice, you might ignore it, but when it happens over and over again, a cold question creeps into your mind. Do they even care about what I am saying? From the outside, every single interruption feels identical. It feels like a door slamming right in your face, but inside the human mind, the truth is far more complicated. Two people can interrupt you with the exact same speed, yet be driven by completely opposite motives. One person cuts you off, desperate to connect with you. Another does it, terrified of forgetting their own thought. And someone else jumps in, because they need to control the room. So why do people really break into your sentences? And how can you tell who is actually listening and who is just waiting to steal your voice? Think back to the last time you felt super excited about an idea. A thought hits your brain like a glowing light bulb, and in that fraction of a second, your self-control takes a back seat. Psychologists call this behavior cooperative overlapping, a habit where cutting someone off is not meant as an attack, it is an explosion of pure agreement. When a person operates this way, silence feels cold and distant to them. They do not wait for you to finish, because to them, jumping in proves that they are actively listening and sharing your energy. They are not trying to shut you down, they are trying to ride the emotional wave right alongside you. But excitement is only part of the story, because another common trigger comes from sudden mental panic. Inside your head, working memory acts like a small, crowded desk. It can only hold a tiny amount of information at one time, before old thoughts get pushed off the edge and lost forever. For people dealing with high anxiety, stress, or fast-moving thoughts, keeping an idea in their mind while actively listening to you is nearly impossible. If they wait for you to finish your point, their own thought vanishes into thin air. So they interrupt like someone grabbing a falling glass, desperately saving the idea before it shatters. It looks rude from the outside, but on the inside, it is born from pure cognitive panic. Then, there is the invisible background of how we were raised. In some calm families, a conversation works like a clean game of tennis. One person hits the ball and patiently waits for the other to hit it back. In other energetic homes, dinner is a loud, chaotic free-for-all where three people talk at the exact same time. If you grew up in a fast-paced environment, interrupting is seen as warmth, energy, and high involvement. If you grew up in a quiet home, that very same behavior feels like an aggressive invasion of your personal space. Neither style is deep down evil, but when these two worlds collide, frustration is almost guaranteed. Here at Anthrix, our mission is to dig beneath the surface of everyday life to find the hidden truths behind human behavior. So if you want to understand the secret rules of how people think and communicate, take a second to subscribe and join our search for answers. Because as common as these innocent habits are, there is a much darker reason why some people refuse to let you finish. Sometimes, the habit is not an accident at all. To spot the difference, you have to look closely at what happens immediately after the interruption occurs. Does the person build on what you were saying, or do they quickly steer the conversation back to themselves? When an interrupter constantly shifts the topic toward their own life, a totally different psychological driver takes over: the desire for power, status, and control. In any group of people, holding the floor is a subtle form of authority. The person speaking commands the attention of the room, and for certain personality types, listening feels like losing. People with strong narcissistic traits or a high need for social dominance view conversations as a competition, a game with clear winners and losers. To them, letting you finish your thought feels like giving away valuable ground. They do not interrupt to connect with you or save a fading thought. They interrupt to reclaim ownership of the space. Notice the physical signals that come with this moment. Their volume gets noticeably louder to push you out. Their eyes scan the room to see who is watching. And if you try to finish your sentence, they double down until you surrender. They are not building a bridge between two minds, they are marking their territory. So how do you figure out which type of interrupter you are actually dealing with? The secret does not lie in the interruption itself. It lies in what psychologists call the repair attempt. A well-meaning interrupter, someone driven by excitement or anxiety, will usually catch themselves after a brief moment. They notice your sudden silence, feel a quick flash of social awareness, and make a clear effort to hand the floor back to you. They will say things like, "Wait, sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?" They want to repair the break because they genuinely care about your input. But a dominant interrupter never attempts to repair the break. They take your unfinished thought, discard it, and drive the conversation straight toward their own agenda without ever looking back. When you see this happen consistently over time, you are no longer dealing with bad timing or a hyperactive mind. You are witnessing a subtle, repeated demonstration of priority, a message that says my voice matters and yours is optional. Understanding these differences changes how you navigate every room you enter. When someone cuts you off at work, with friends, or at home, do not just react to the irritation of the moment. Pause and look at the signal behind the noise. Are they eager to share your joy, panicking about a fleeting thought, following an old family habit, or quietly trying to erase your presence? Because in the end, the way someone interrupts you says very little about the quality of your words and almost everything about how much they respect your place in the world.